Daredevil Born Again surprised us with a plot twist that felt kind of predictable. It was something we all expected to see, and all the promotional material that was used showed us a glimpse of most likely scenarios. But the question is, did writers and directors do that on purpose? Are they hiding something, or are they just being careful with what they tell us? Regardless the tragic situation, with all the hints and details we could see, I think there's more to the story. Hello everybody, it's Idol on TV. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Today we're gonna investigate the tragic death of Foggy Nelson. Foggy is without a doubt one of the best supporting characters in whole Defenderverse, and him not being around for this re-establishment would feel kind of empty, especially now since all the Defenders and other characters are most likely coming back. But this might not actually be the end for Foggy, and we're gonna see why. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel, it's free. Now let's get to the video. There are many reasons why Karen and Foggy are both absent from more or less this whole season, and one of the reasons being is that they weren't originally included to be a part of Daredevil reboot at all. The main issue was that the whole season was already shot, and even though showrunner Darius Cartapane fought as much as he could to bring back Karen and Foggy, there were still limitations to what he could do with their characters. This was all before Kevin Feige decided to make all the Netflix shows canon, which led to the overhaul, and they had to find a way to squeeze Karen and Foggy into the series without reshooting every single episode. From what I heard, they did manage to reshot 3 episodes completely, and those episodes are our tragical and intense pilot and the last 2 episodes. This was also the reason why they've decided to split the episodes into 2 parts and make 2 seasons each containing 9 episodes. There were fans that were pretty disappointed after this decision was made because everyone wanted to see 18 episodes of Daredevil. But remember, quality over quantity. Well, because the second season wasn't already filmed, it opened up more room for Karen and Foggy, and that's a good thing. We know that both actors are returning for season 2. But hold on, that doesn't mean that Foggy is alive. He will come back as a flashback, but him surviving, that doesn't make sense. Okay, we witnessed him being shot, bleeding out, and Matt hearing his heartbeat stop. He is gone. But is he? There were a lot of details and hidden Easter eggs in this first episode that made me and other fans of the show question his death. I know a lot of you think that him surviving could ruin the plot and that it would be difficult to see him alive after what happened, but we have to remember that he also faked his death in comics, and although this adaptation isn't necessarily comic accurate, they are taking a lot of inspiration out of it. There is one big detail that could even be related to the comics that I will mention later, but first let's talk about Foggy's death and everything that's suspicious about it. Before everything happened, we can see Foggy talking to one of his clients whose name is Benny. We can also see that Matt heard their conversation. Benny tells Foggy that he sold him out to someone because they wanted to know where he is, and that someone is Ben Poindexter, aka Bullseye. Why would he want to know where Foggy is in the first place, and who's Benny? We will hopefully learn more about Benny later in the season, or at least see Matt confronting him, but what happened later is even more controversial. When Bullseye approaches Karen and Foggy, he shots Foggy in the chest, but right after he shot 2 cops in the head without missing a bullet. We know Bullseye doesn't miss, but why did he do that to Foggy? He could easily take him out, but he didn't. The easiest explanation would be that he wanted Foggy's death to be slow and painful, which would hurt Matt and Karen even more. But what if Foggy is not entirely gone yet? There is this crazy theory that I would like to bring up since it's been confirmed that Eldon Hansen is returning for season 2. It could just be Matt hallucinating Foggy, but it could also be something else. We know that it's not entirely impossible for writers to bring Foggy back alive, even if we witnessed his death. Spoiler alert, back in season 2 when Matt and Elektra fought the Hand, Elektra died in Matt's arms. There was even a funeral held for her, but we see in Defenders that the Hand has resurrected her and she came back alive. Plot twist, Elektra wasn't the only character that the Hand brought back from the dead. There was also Harold, Warden Joy's father from Iron Fist season 1, who was resurrected twice. Considering the fact that we didn't even get to see Foggy's funeral, there are some possibilities that something is happening behind the spotlight. And before you say, yeah, it seems pretty unlikely, you can literally see it in his eyes, he is long gone, we gotta remember this is Marvel and anything is possible. You know, I'm a big fan of Dexter, which is a completely different series. This whole channel started with Dexter, and even when, spoiler alert, the showrunners confirmed that Dexter is dead after being shot through the heart, literally, he somehow survived. But unlike most production companies, Marvel is known for bringing characters back, which isn't surprising since it's based on comics where that happens all the time. So what scenario or plot would make the most sense if they decide to bring him back? Well, I don't think they will introduce the handbag just yet and resurrect him or bring back the multiverse variant of him. There are a few possibilities here, but the most likely scenario is a fake out. If we take a closer look to that scene where Foggy got shot, everything just seems off. And it's not just Bullseye missing the shot, it's also what happened before that. Matt went to put on his suit, which made him distant enough to not sense or hear Bullseye coming after Karen and Foggy. Now this could all just be a coincidence or a simple way to explain Foggy's death, but what if Foggy was onto something? If we pay attention to the court scene where Bullseye is sentenced to life in prison, we can see that he didn't even react or gave any emotional response at all, which makes me believe that there could be more to the story. He either really wanted to hurt Matt or he was hired to do so. Everything seems too well organized, and I don't believe someone like Bullseye could have planned such a scenario all by himself. At first, my MCU focused mind was trying to piece everything together, and my initial thought was that he was hired by Wall, who we know owns Avengers Tower, possibly setting him up for Dark Avengers or something similar. We know that she hired John Walker and Yelena Belova, who both have dark history behind them, to do some dirty work for her. Given that, it would make sense for her to hire someone like Ben Poindexter. However, since this is more of a Hell's Kitchen story rather than a full-on Avengers one, I believe someone else hired him, someone who knows him, and that someone would be our fresh crime boss Vanessa. It was revealed in the first episode of Daredevil Born Again that Fisk has handed over all his shady business to Vanessa. He also told Matt that he has nothing to do with Foggy's death, which makes me believe that Vanessa could be the mastermind behind all of this. Maybe she hired Bullseye and convinced him that they are on the same side, just like in Ed Brubaker's comic book run, but what does any of this have to do with Foggy? Well, you know that detail that could be related to the comics which I've mentioned earlier. If we pay attention to the address on Matt, Foggy and Karen's law firm, we can see the number 468. Now, if we Google Daredevil issue number 468, we can see that the issue's name is The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. In this story, Foggy fakes his own death by getting stabbed while visiting Matt in prison. Later in the story, it turns out that Foggy is alive and in witness protection. And who helped Foggy fake his death? It was Vanessa. I'm not saying this is exactly what will happen in Daredevil Born Again, this is just a theory, but it got me thinking if there's more to the story than him just dying at the start of this season. This is obviously different than the comics. Matt is not in prison, it happens under entirely different circumstances, but it could be a great plot twist. I personally believe there's more to Foggy's story. There's also some explaining left to do with Bullseye, for example, who paid for his spine surgery and why was he not in prison? I think there's a possibility where Foggy could come back alive. What do you guys think about this situation? Do you think he could return, or do you think he'll be back as a flashback? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.
Peace out.